so unrealistic.
We
sometimes.
have always been very ambitious, but last year we bit off like way more than we could chew. We are the Stolies, a full-time travel family of 7 road tripping America with a mission to live in all 50 US states by the end of 2025. 2024 was a massive year for us. We're going to recap everything that we've done and talk about what our goals are for 2025. It is set to be one of our biggest years yet. We're back. It is time for our annual recap. We're doing our 2024 recap. This year was crazy.
We say that every year.
We say that every year, but preparing for this video, looking back through all the things that we did this year, it's honestly like, how did we do it all? I don't know how.
So let's go ahead and do a breakdown of what our year looked like month by month.
We started off the year stationary at home, and while we absolutely loved being back with family, RV season is very real for us, and we were getting antsy. Besides the fact that we were also renovating one of our rental properties, and I just was not in the mood for renovations. I was done with the house. But we were really happy to finally wrap that up because it was going to give us an income throughout the rest of the year.
Then February came around and we were finally making our way to a new state, which was Florida. And talk about a perfect state to head for winter. We had so much fun over the months of February, March, and April, enjoying everything that Florida has to offer. Then in the month of May, we finally said goodbye to Florida, and we actually made our way to surprise my mom for her 60th birthday. My siblings didn't know we were coming. My parents didn't know. We literally just showed up at the restaurant for her birthday. It was so fun, and that was such an amazing experience getting to be there for family. And surprise! These are not ours, but not only do we get to surprise my mom, we get to enjoy 2 babies. This one is actually only 2 weeks. This one's like 3 months, even though they look the same size. So we've got Enanita and Caconcito. But then we quickly said goodbye and made our way to North Carolina.
We started out strong in the Smoky Mountains, which is by far one of our favorite places to visit as a family. And not only did we get to go as a family, but Karen's family tagged along. So the kids were super thrilled to have cousins along with us. We did tons of scenic drives through the Blue Ridge Parkway.
It was so underrated in my opinion. It was pretty much an extension of the Great Smokies National Park. We hiked there, caught beautiful sunset, and it was just an amazing time. Then we made our way over to the coast, so we got to enjoy like pretty much both sides of North Carolina.
North Carolina truly has so much to offer, and we wish that we could have stayed longer, but we slowly made our way up the coast to our next state of Virginia. I've got to be honest, I did not expect to enjoy Virginia as much as we did. It is a massive state, and there's so much. It's a lot like North Carolina in the sense that you have like these beautiful mountains in the Shenandoah Mountains, and then you have the coastline as well on the eastern shore, and we did all of it. So we were able to enjoy the summer surf of the eastern shore with places like Cape Charles and Chincoteague with friends that we had made at the campground we were staying at. And then we did Colonial Williamsburg and Jamestown because of course in Virginia you have to do that.
Beautiful old homes. I loved it so much.
I definitely did not appreciate it when I was younger the way that I did when we went back now. And I think even our kids were like, wow. And it's just incredible, not just the history, but the artifacts and architecture that's still intact from hundreds of years ago. It's pretty cool.
Next we made it to Maryland, which is a smaller state, so we didn't spend too much time there, but one of our favorite cities to date, in my opinion, is Annapolis. It was such a cute, walkable town that had so much to do. We walked the entire area in like 20 minutes, which was so...
20 minutes?
Well, from the parking lot to the bay to the courthouse, like we did it. We walked all day. But it's like that is unheard of for like a city, because it is a city.
Proximity wise,
to be that small, and so I loved Annapolis. It's still one of my top 5, 100% cities. And then we also made it to Washington D.C. from Maryland and enjoyed 3 days there. We don't like big cities, but Washington, D.C. is high up there on, if I had to pick a city, it's one of my favorite cities. And then finally we made our way to Ocean City, which was a lot more, again, more beachy. And we also made our way to Assateague Island, where we got to spot the wild horses and enjoy a scenic drive. So we loved that.
Following Maryland, we made our way to Delaware, and I don't know if this is a cheat. We didn't actually stay in Delaware with our RV, but we did a lot in Delaware. We did Newcastle, Wilmington. We made our way over to Rehoboth, which is where I grew up going as a kid, and it was just really fun to share with the kids a piece of my childhood. And having grown up in that area, I actually learned things that I had never known in my entire life, so that was super fun to share with the kids. And then from Delaware, we made our way to Jersey Shore.
We made it pretty much peak summertime, and so it was the great time to honestly relax, and we enjoyed so much beach time. We made it to Cape May, which was such a quaint town. I really loved Cape May. Had never heard of it before, but we caught a concert, like a millennial's dream concert with all throwbacks from the 2000s.
Let me hear you guys one time without me. Here we go.
You have stolen my heart.
Yeah, that's gonna be beautiful. All right.
And we also made our way to Ocean City, so we really got to enjoy pretty much what we feel like New Jersey has to offer, which is the Jersey Shore.
After New Jersey, we made it to Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania I grew up in, so I was excited to share a lot of my childhood experiences with the kids. We started our trip to Pennsylvania in Lancaster County, and Karen calls me the Pennsylvania snob because I didn't think there was anything out in Lancaster.
I drug his butt to Pennsylvania and I said, give me a week. And so we spent a week in Lancaster, and we were surprised at how beautiful Lancaster was and how much there was to do. We went on a train ride, which was epic.
For sure.
We went to Turkey Hill. We went to what's the restaurant?
Shady Maple Smorgasbord. And then from there, we went to Philadelphia, and I planned an epic day because I grew up outside of Philly. So I was like, if we're doing Philly, we are doing it right. We're doing cheesesteaks, all the stops. We planned out the day, and it was like bam, bam, bam. We hit all the major stuff. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and I feel like we did Pennsylvania justice.
In just 1 week. That's crazy. We're crazy. That's just a reminder. We were moving like 1 week at a time. We're crazy.
That was just 1 week.
Yeah, we just drove from Lancaster area to, and so we did all that in 1 week with 5 kids. Are you kidding me? I'm getting stressed thinking about it, and I already lived it.
Yeah, it was a lot.
All right, so our next date was New York, and we know that New York has so much more to offer than New York City, but how do you make it to all 50 states? Take your kids to pretty much all the cities and not hit New York City. So we put our big girl pants on. And we went into New York. We did a day in the Statue of Liberty, which we almost couldn't make because it was literally storming.
That was so stressful.
It was literally storming, and we didn't even make it into the city until like 3 o'clock because we left that late. And then we did a second day, which was again raining, but honestly, we got to enjoy a moody day in New York City. We did Central Park.
It was
We did
vibes.
a carousel. We did bagels. We did New York pizza, the Natural History Museum, and we made it to Times Square. Talk about squeezing in a lot of things in one day.
From sun up to sundown,
That was just New York, New York, New York.
But honestly, it was probably one of the best days in New York City. It was good.
Really, it wasn't hot or sunny.
No.
Which, you get more tired.
The rain kept the crowds down.
And it kept us cool, so we were
Yeah.
just walking around New York in the rain. But it was amazing. And that was pretty much our checkoff for New York City, for New York State, even though we did end up doing a couple of things in New York later down the road.
So Connecticut completely surprised us. We started on the western side of Connecticut.
Our favorite.
I had no idea that Connecticut had hills, mountains, I guess.
Mountainish hills. Like, it was borderline mountains, which makes sense because Vermont edges to that area that we are.
Truly, it felt like we were in Great Britain.
Yeah, because there was a lot of stone walls and overgrown grass and really beautiful cottage vibes.
Exactly.
In the home.
There were cottage gardens.
It was so pretty. We
amazing.
literally spent most of that week just driving. We'd be like, let's pick a direction, let's pick a coffee shop, and drive an hour away. Because every road that we would take, we'd be like, oh my word, this is stunning. And it's hilly. It's beautiful.
We road tripped that side of Connecticut pretty much the entire week. We just picked
also
spots.
did a Stars Hollow tour where we literally researched all the towns that inspired the show, and we drove in one day. We drove to like 4 or 5 towns. It was so much fun, and that held such a special part in my heart. Like, I loved that side of Connecticut.
It was really special. And then we made our way to the coast, which honestly was also one of my favorites because I love ships and sailing.
Mystic Pizza.
Mystic Pizza. Okay.
I don't know about this pizza. Best garlic bread in the world I've ever had.
That's true. We absolutely loved Mystic. We did 2 days in Mystic at the Mystic Seaport Museum, which
was so much fun.
Honestly, that is...
If you like ships, like, those were ships that were 200 years old. They were stunning.
Yeah, you can go on board some of the ships. You can go through their shipyard where they're actually rebuilding some of the old ships.
We also quickly hit Hartford. We also quickly hit New Haven and walked through Yale. So, I mean, we were busy in Connecticut in the 2 weeks that we spent there.
Next, we made it to Rhode Island, which had our favorite city that we've ever been to.
So far,
yeah. Newport was incredible. It's a coastal town with boats everywhere, awesome shopping, great food, very walkable. We really enjoyed Newport. And then we made our way around the coastline along Ocean Avenue, which if you're ever in Rhode Island, you have to take the Ocean Avenue Scenic Drive. It takes you through from like
beautiful
the Breakers
mansions.
Hotel. Yeah, mansions where all the rich people live. But what we were blown away by was how blue the waters were. And like, it's just incredible the way that the houses and the roads wind right along the coastline there.
It was stunning.
Absolutely stunning. Reminded us a little bit of our time in Ireland. For as small as Rhode Island is, it does have a lot to offer.
Our next date was Massachusetts, which has so much to offer. We drove all the way up from... We were at the, like, Cape Cod mouth, like, at the beginning of Cape Cod. We went all the way up the loop to Provincetown, the furthest point. And there are so many cute beaches, towns that we passed along the way. So we made sure to stop at a lot of them, enjoyed beautiful beaches. It was such a fun time. And the best part was that we set out to see if we could see seals. And we literally, they were there for like 30 minutes and gone. So if we had not been there at the right time, we would have missed them. We got to see, like, tens, I don't want to say 100 because that might be exaggerated, but it was tens of seals swimming right because there was a fishing boat that was cleaning all the guts and stuff. So they came and we were literally looking down at seals in the wild. It was crazy, and it was like the one thing that I wanted to see in Cape Cod, and we did. So I was so happy.
It felt like a National Geographic, but you were like there presently. Like you could see the seals on the shore just across the water. There was a beach area.
They were making the sounds.
Exactly, and then
so cool.
then there was a group of them that were also just floating in the water, and you just see their little heads pop up from periodically. They'd be like, they go under, and then
they were
would pop
swimming.
up.
They reminded me of the manatees. Like they were very much like that.
Yeah, very chill in the water.
We loved our time in Cape Cod, and then we made it to Boston. Crossed off a city that I had never been at and was really excited to see. It was so beautiful, but I was reminded yet again that I'm just not a city person. But if I had to pick a city, it would probably be Boston. So that was a lot of fun, and that wrapped up our time in Massachusetts.
Now, we planned our entire year around being in New England for fall. And let me tell you, we arrive into New Hampshire and the leaves are beginning to change. And it is as breathtaking as we had hoped it would be. We went up to Mount Washington, which is the highest point on the eastern side of the U.S. We drove our white car up there, and honestly, I did not know...
the brakes were smelling on the way down because it was so steep.
I did not know if we were going to make it, if our poor vehicle was going to make it up or back down, but we survived. We actually have a sticker that says we made it up to the top of
Our car survived
the climb. Yeah, exactly. And perfect because of the leaf change, we were able to do several scenic drives through Kunkamingus Highway. I'm probably saying that completely wrong, but it's this highway that kind of goes through the valley of the mountains, and it is just stunning.
We also took a chondola ride up the I think it was Canyon Mountain.
Canyon, it sounds right.
And we were literally taking in the fall colors at the beginning of the change. It was just so beautiful. Checked off all our boxes. New Hampshire is not talked about enough, and honestly, I would 100% go back right now. Our next state was Maine, which was such a state that we had looked forward to for so long because neither one of us had ever been to Maine, and also it's like the furthest, highest northern eastern state. We made it to the furthest point in the eastern United States. which was the West Cody Lighthouse, and we took photos and videos there, and we saw a bald eagle.
Yeah,
remember? We saw a bald eagle.
It's about as America as you can get.
But yeah, our phone said "Welcome to Canada." That's how far we were up that side, which was amazing. We enjoyed Acadia National Park. We woke up at like 4:30 in the morning to go catch the sunset on Cadillac Mountain, which is the sunrise, which is one of the earliest places that you can see the sunrise in Maine. And the colors again were starting to turn. Acadia Mountains, I think the impressive part about Acadia National Park is that you usually get ocean or mountains, but you don't get the combination of both. And here you got to be on the ocean and see mountains. It was so stunning. We did several beautiful hikes, one of which felt like we were literally in like a fairy movie. Do you remember like the mossy one where we were in like this forest? It was just such a fun experience. Like I would 100% on the states where I'm like must revisit is definitely Maine. It was an amazing time.
We really lucked out because our campground was right on the waterway, and so you would basically leave our door and just walk down the street to this bay area. And I went out there for sunrise a few times, and it was the perfect timing because like there was a fishing trolley that was like just coming past as the sun's coming up, like, you know, the perfect silhouette. I mean, it was so picturesque. I think like what you were talking about, being in an area with the mountains and then the ocean right there. That was so, it was everything in my head I thought that it would be, you know?
We also did Bar Harbor, which was beautiful. We also did a lighthouse that looked like the opening scene of Beauty and the Beast, if you know what I'm talking about. But it was so beautiful. We caught sunset at another random spot, like we just pull on the side of the road. Caught a beautiful sunset over the water with like the little boats in the distance.
We hunted for moose, but never saw any, sadly.
Yeah, but it was Maine. Checked all the boxes. Top, I don't know where I would put it because we love so many states, but it's definitely top 10. Out of 50, it is in the top 10
far,
somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
I would almost say top 5, but we'll see by the time. Really? By the end of our journey.
Okay. Speaking of top 5, for me, Vermont is hands down in my top 5. Vermont in peak fall, the colors are so vibrant. The mountains are just gorgeous.
I didn't realize that Vermont was like all mountains. Like everywhere you drove, and then the mountains with like fall foliage everywhere. It was like, I would literally be like, let's just take me somewhere. I don't care where. Like I just need to drive because just driving was stunning.
It is the real life version of a Hallmark movie. Like I feel like they shoot all the Hallmark movies.
We did go to Woodstock, which is like the inspiration for a lot of those.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, your eyes were, for me, it was the East Coast version of what we felt when we first went out west for the first time. It was like everything you saw was just like, wow, wow, wow. So we really, really enjoyed Vermont.
So if we had to pick a state for 2024, even though we liked so many, I think Vermont takes the cake.
Vermont takes the cake, for sure. So here's where things get a little bit crazy. We had the option, because it's getting colder, it's mid-October now, to either slowly make our way back home or cross off like 10 more states. Was it 10?
No, it was like 5.
Like 5 more states.
So here's the thing, we did not want to have to come back to this area because we had spent our time in New Hampshire and Maine and Vermont and like really taking our time in those states. But we had a lot of states that, not to, you know, not show them some appreciation, but we did not have that much desire to come back for those. So we wanted to check them off. Apologies to Michigan because I know Michigan needed one more time. But we did decide to fly through several states. I mean like 4 nights in a state, checking off as much as we can. So the first one was Ohio, which, let me tell you something, if you want to appreciate and enjoy a state, just go in fall, because Ohio was beautiful. Yeah. It was country, it was more flat.
That was Cuyahoga?
Yes, we did Cuyahoga Valley. Mm-hmm. And we took a train ride, which we enjoyed train rides. So we did a train ride, we did the valley, we drove by Cleveland, we crossed off. We did not realize until we were there that the county that we were staying in an RV, had a bunch of covered bridges. So in one day, I think we made it to 11. We were just driving to the car, jump out, get a photo, get a video, go. And it was so much fun. It was like a very fun, on the road, in the car, street, on the road day. But we crossed off a bunch of covered bridges and got to enjoy some of the history and the scenery of Ohio in fall. And so that was fun. And so we spent like 4 days in Ohio, and we felt like we also went to we also saw Lake Ontario or Lake Erie. I think we
Lake
might have
Erie.
seen both. But we also drove to one of the Greater Lakes that you could see from Ohio. And
that was actually
weren't
really
we in the Lake
pretty.
Erie area?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did a lot in that time. We were pretty much just adventuring because we were like, this is the only time we're going to get.
Yeah.
So, we did Ohio.
After Ohio, we made our way to Michigan, where we only had 4 days. So mind you, we are blazing through this. And again, our favorite thing is road trips. So we mapped out and we asked our followers to share with us what we had to see in Michigan because we had little time. So we mapped out a couple day trips where we drove up through the center of the state and then made our way over to Lake Michigan and then made our way down the coast of Lake Michigan. And let me tell you, Lake Michigan is like an ocean. It's crazy. There's waves.
It's so beautiful.
We stopped in at a surf shop. They have a surf shop. That's how good the waves are. Went on an awesome hike when we were out there. And then the other thing that like really blew me away was how beautiful the beaches were. Like, do you remember we stopped
and how huge the waves were? It was crazy. We enjoyed Michigan. Michigan is one that like we want to make it all the way up the UP one day.
Yeah.
We definitely want to go back because I feel like of all these states that we blazed through, I always wanted to spend more time in Michigan. Okay, so nothing against Michigan. It was just like we didn't know when we were going to be back there and we wanted to cross it off. But still, even though it was only like 4 days there, we did Grand Rapids, we did Kalamazoo, we did Grand Haven, we did Saugatuck. We drove through a bunch of Michigan cities. We got invited by one of our followers to enjoy their farm and we spent a whole day, an afternoon
that was
after doing
so
something,
much
and it
fun.
was so much fun. So we got so much done in Michigan and I know that one day we'll come back and like do full justice to
give
Michigan.
it a proper visit. Next, we did Illinois, and by Illinois, I mean Chicago. Didn't have the time to give Illinois justice, although I don't know how much justice we would have given it with any more time. I think Chicago really is kind of the big ticket item.
And I loved Chicago for not liking cities. I was like, man, Chicago is clean. It's beautiful. The lake is just so stunning. It was so blue the day that we were there.
Yeah, and the way that it's positioned and how walkable it is, it was a really good time to be in the city with kids. We don't usually like to be in the city, but I really enjoyed myself.
Okay, our next date was Indiana, and pretty much what we did here was the Indiana Dunes National Park, which we didn't even realize Indiana had a national park. It was beautiful. We went on a little hike. It was white sand beach. You could see Chicago from Indiana Dunes National Park, which was pretty cool. And then we went to Indianapolis, mainly to hang out with friends because it was Halloween and we went trick-or-treating with them. But that was pretty much Indiana, and honestly, the Dunes National Park was amazing. I don't know that there's that much more that we missed in Indiana, but maybe one day.
Tell us if we're wrong. Now we begin making our way back down for the holidays, and we're coming through Kentucky. We drove through Louisville, however you say it, to Mammoth Caves, which we did Mammoth Caves, and then made our way down to Bowling Green. This was like our season of slowing down because we're getting closer to being back home. And the kids really, really enjoyed this. When we were in Kentucky, they made a bunch of friends and we just enjoyed some good fellowship.
Next, we made our way to Tennessee, and finally we allowed ourselves to check it off because we had driven in and out of it so many times, but not really been exploring it. We finally got to explore Nashville and check out what the hype was all about, and then we also made our way to Chattanooga, which honestly is probably the city that reminded us the most of Greenville, or
for sure,
our hometown, so it was very nice. And then we finally made our way to Knoxville, Tennessee to visit my sister for Thanksgiving, where we got together with all our family, including my aunt and cousin that came from the Dominican Republic. So it was so nice to be reunited with everyone that we hadn't seen since May. And that brings us back to South Carolina in December, just in time to enjoy about a month. Yeah, which, I mean, after doing 3 months last year, it felt like nothing. We were home for exactly a month, pretty much Thanksgiving in Tennessee, and then we were the entire month of December and New Year's, we were in South Carolina with family, enjoying our RV, because we did stay in a campground, just having the space of our RV, but regularly going over and visiting with family and enjoying our time there, knowing that we might not see everyone for a year when we headed out this year. So that was a lot of fun, and we got our dose of family before heading out on our adventures again. And now it's time to get to our goals from last year and just see how we did. And I'm not gonna lie, when I rewatched the video and I saw what our goals were, I was literally laughing out loud. Because we're so ambitious. We have the best heart, the best intentions, but it's so unrealistic.
We
sometimes.
have always been very ambitious, but last year we bit off like way more than we could chew. I mean,
Especially
it wasn't
when
even
we have
realistic.
5 kids, we're full-time content creators, we travel in an RV, crossing off a buttload of states. Like, what were we thinking?
Yeah, so
this year, hopefully, we have way more realistic
I feel
expectations.
like on the positive side, we finished out last year with a lot of grace for ourselves and a lot of gratitude for all that we did accomplish, not feeling down about what we didn't accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So,
with that being said, our goal number 1 was slow living. And
I feel like we other than crossing off a lot of states,
towards the end of the year,
we did accomplish slow living because even when we were moving quickly and going through all the states, we were spending so much quality time as a family. I felt like my tank was full when it came to being present and having really great memories with the kids.
and our days consisted of like, what do we absolutely have to do to like get by, do that, and then what are we doing? Are we exploring? Are we going to the beach? Are we hanging out? And so we did do a lot of slow living to the point that towards the end of the year we were like, we need to do a little bit less slow living.
Yeah. So for years we've talked about YouTube and how this channel is so important to us that we wanted to make it priority number 1. But as creators, it's really hard to commit the time that YouTube requires when you're not making any money from it. And so last year was a good year for us, but when you don't have income coming in, it kind of makes it hard to dedicate time to YouTube. And to be honest, we gave it a valiant effort. We set out to do 50 to 100 videos in 2024.
And we literally started a challenge, 30 days of vlogging last year, which I think we did like 28 days, so I'm pretty proud of us. But if we had not done that, we would have been nowhere near this goal, because outside of that 30 days of vlogging, we barely did any YouTube videos because we were so busy because of that challenge. So I would say we were close-ish to the 50 mark. So it's not that laughable, but it was still, I was laughing when I saw, we thought we could do 50 to 100 YouTube videos while traveling full-time.
I don't know what we were thinking.
All right, next was digital products, which we had been talking about for the last 2 recap years, our goals. And in the future, it's still a goal, but we definitely did not make any progress on our coloring books that we were gonna do. We were so busy. Listen, I made that video like, this is our goal. Not once did I work on it. Not once did we open and like do research on it. Like, we didn't do anything. That's like, the idea lived here. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm so excited.
It sounded good.
I talked to Zira about it for like a month. So I was in my head like, this is gonna happen. And then at some point I was like, bro, what are we talking about? We have too much going on.
We were moving so quickly, a lot of it was just surviving. So we set out to do 20 states in 2024.
That was our goal. And how many did we do?
We did 19, and I think honestly that counts as 20.
That counts
like,
as 20.
I mean,
we could always say South Carolina was our 20th.
exactly.
So we
did accomplish that. And we had talked about starting a podcast from the road, which is still something that is really important to us. Again, it all comes back to
how much can we handle?
How much can we handle? And I'm learning, like, the more that we get into our journey and our career as creatives, that when you have a full plate of like 30 different things, it's hard to do any of it very well. Mm-hmm. I think the one thing that I can say from last year is that we got very clear and very concise in like our business meetings that we would have during travel days, talking about where we were headed. And that really set us up to be successful coming into this year as creatives. And it helped us to solidify like what is actually the priority that we're focusing on. So like we kind of very quickly realized that we were out of our depth and that we needed to become more focused. I think throughout the course of last year, we did do that. We got more focused on the things that were priorities, and the things that were like wishful thoughts and goals that we had kind of took to the wayside, and we were okay with that. That said, going into 2025, we are simplifying
Even more, because we simplified last year.
we're simplifying the things that we're setting out to achieve this year to our actual priorities. So we have 3 for 2025, which I'm feeling very confident we'll be able to hit.
It's like, if we don't hit those, then what are we doing?
First one being, we want to finish the remaining 20 of 50 US states, which is a lot because we're heading out on our Western expedition this year. And if you know anything about the Western US, it's like the biggest states in the country with the most things to see. So it's going to be a challenge.
Question mark is whether we'll get to squeeze in Alaska or whether that will be its own series to finally wrap up all 50 states. But we're going to be so close to being done by the end of this year. It's going to be crazy.
It's crazy to think, if you've been following our journey, that we will finish all 50 states in almost just 2 years.
We are so grateful that we get to be content creators, and I know that some people know that how we make money or don't. We have videos on it, but we are full-time content creators, and our short-form content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok are the way that we get paid to be on the road, and we're so grateful. Like, we're so blessed. Every day we're like, I can't believe this is our life, that we get to travel and get paid by the partnerships that we have, and our goal is just literally maintain what we have. Continue to post consistently. We did take breaks since we've been RVing. We've been way less consistent than we were when we were stationary, obviously, because we have 5 kids and we're so much busier. So it's just to like figure out ways to show up, document, bring people into our lives more, and not feel like it needs to be this master produced piece of content, but just simplifying and posting and showing up consistently. And that is our biggest goal. We have slowly grown across our social media platforms, and we just want to keep that going and hope that the platform that gets a lucky break this year is YouTube, because that is leading to our third goal.
Yeah, our third goal is to post consistently 1 episode every week for a total of 52 episodes throughout the year. I feel like this year we are primed and ready to finally tackle that. Because we've planned out our year, we have a good idea of where we're heading, when we're heading there, and I feel like I finally have the capacity and the space to be able to dedicate the time that YouTube deserves in order for it to be done the way that it needs to be done, and for us to actually achieve that this year. And I think if we're able to do that, like, that will be a huge sense of accomplishment, because we've been talking about it for so long. Even if we don't grow the YouTube channel,
just the consistency,
yeah, exactly.
Because YouTube is our future. Like, we're putting that out there. YouTube is our future.
Manifesting YouTube as our future career.
So I feel like those are all very realistic goals, and if we don't hit them, it's because we are slacking, and feel free to call us out on them. But that wraps up to this year's recap video. I don't have anything to say. I'm just
I was not ready
ad-libbing. Right? You anything else?
It's gonna be. If you aren't following us on YouTube, this is my little plug for more followers for YouTube.
Subscribe right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, if you're not following us, this is gonna be hands down our biggest year. I cannot wait to capture content out west. I mean, it's some of the biggest and best areas that I've always dreamt of visiting. So, like, my heart is already, like, just full of excitement for what we're going to experience. And I don't even know, like, what the future is holding for us out there. But it's just going to be a really great time. And we hope that you will follow us on our adventures.
Bye.